Welcome back, Focus Learners. If you're gearing up for the AB-730 AI Business Professional exam, well, you already know the stakes are incredibly high. You're not just learning to use tools like Microsoft 365 Copilot, you're proving to your organization that you can do it securely, responsibly, and effectively. Today's explainer is basically your elite exam tutor. We're going to isolate the most critical, highly testable concepts surrounding responsible AI and data protection, breaking them all down so that you can walk into that exam room with total confidence. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our study roadmap, pulled directly from the official criteria. We'll cover the exam landscape, identify common AI risks, learn crucial verification steps, mitigate sensitive data risks, and finish up with data protection and prompts. We are systematically tackling the exact criteria you need to master. All right, Section 1, the AB-730 exam landscape, understanding the stakes. Before we get into the actual technical weeds, we really need to understand exactly what it takes to succeed on this assessment. 700. That is the exact non-negotiable minimum score required to pass. In standard grading, that might be a C-, but in the AI world, it means you must have absolute precision. There is virtually zero margin for error here, which means every single question counts. You literally cannot afford to guess on the core principles of AI safety and data management. And, well, here is exactly why we're hyper-focusing on our specific topic today. A massive 25 to 30% of the entire exam covers generative AI fundamentals. And within that huge chunk, identifying responsible AI and data protection practices is a primary objective. If you don't intimately understand these concepts, you're basically risking up to a third of your exam score right out of the gate. No way we're letting that happen. Moving on to Section 2. Identifying common AI risks, spotting the exam traps. Okay, think of me as your coach right now. The exam is absolutely designed to test whether you can recognize when things go completely sideways in an AI environment. The big three exam traps, pulled straight from the official syllabus, are fabrications, prompt injection, and over-reliance. You need to memorize this list because recognizing these three specific risks is non-negotiable for passing. Microsoft explicitly states that a candidate must identify these common risks in a business context. Now, what's really interesting here is the intense focus on prompt injection. This is a highly testable technical term. Basically, prompt injection is when a user or some external data manipulates the AI's instructions to bypass its safety filters or access unauthorized info. The exam is definitely going to expect you to definitively spot this threat in a given scenario. It's not just a random glitch. It's a deliberate security vulnerability that you, as an AI business professional, have to be super vigilant against. Let's quickly compare the other two traps, fabrications versus over-reliance. The exam totally expects you to know the subtle difference here. A fabrication is when the generative AI confidently just makes things up. It generates totally false or inaccurate information. Over-reliance, on the other hand, is a human error. It's kind of like blindly following your car's GPS straight into a lake, right? It's when you, the user, trust the AI's output way too much without actually checking the facts. So one is a machine error, the other is a user error. Make sure you know the difference. All right, Section 3, crucial verification steps, escaping the traps. So we know the risks now, but the AB-730 isn't just about spotting problems, it's about actually solving them. Let's look at the tools you are required to use to escape these traps. The syllabus requires you to select verification steps appropriate to whatever specific task you're doing. Here is the highly actionable two-step verification flow you really need to master. Step 1, citation check. Whenever Microsoft 365 Copilot generates content, you've got to verify the sources it pulled from. Step 2, human review. AI is a copilot, it's not an autopilot. You have to actively review those drafted business insights before finalizing anything. In fact, let's look at this direct quote from the official skills update released on July 22, 2026. Quote, select verification steps appropriate to the task, including citation checks and human review. The language Microsoft uses here is incredibly specific. The exam will present you with scenarios and ask you to pick the right verification step. Always, always remember, no AI output is ever final until a human validates it against proper citations. Next up, Section 4, mitigating sensitive data risks, protecting the organization. Let's bring the focus back to your main overarching goal here, using these powerful AI tools safely within your company's ecosystem. As an AI business professional, you aren't just drafting quick emails or summarizing a meeting. You're handling core organizational intelligence. The exam explicitly tests your ability to recognize and mitigate risks to sensitive data. You really need to understand how the context, meaning your specific work files, web data, or the particular app you're using like Teams or Word, can drastically affect Copilot's responses. You are literally the gatekeeper ensuring organizational information remains private and secure.
And finally, Section 5, Data Protection and Prompts, the Boundaries.
Let's see how this all builds into our final major topic. This is basically the climax of our study guide deep dive because it connects how you use the tool with how the tool is built to actually protect you. I want you to treat this specific concept like a flashcard for your exam prep. Ready? How does data protection limit your prompts? Just take a second. Think about how you would answer that if it popped up on a multiple choice test right now. So the absolutely crucial point is this. Data protection structurally restricts prompt results. The AI doesn't just decide on a whim what it feels like showing you. The underlying data protection policies of your organization actively dictate and restrict what the AI is even allowed to generate in its response. If you prompt the agent for sensitive financial data that you personally do not have permission to view, the data protection architecture will restrict that result to keep the organization's information private. Understanding this hard boundary is an absolute game changer for mastering the generative AI fundamentals on this test. As we wrap up, let's take a quick look at the timeline of your whole certification journey. Notice that critical update back on July 22nd, 2026? That's when the skills measured were refined, putting a heavy focus on the exact Copilot management and security steps we've been talking about. Then comes exam day, where you'll apply those exact verification steps to hit that 700 passing score. But hey, the journey doesn't just end there. Post-exam, you need to remember that Microsoft Associate and Expert certifications expire annually. But the really good news, you can renew them for free just by passing an online assessment on Microsoft Learn. And that brings us to our final thought. Passing the AB-730 isn't just about memorizing some risks to get a shiny digital badge. It's about fundamentally changing how you operate in a modern, AI-enabled workplace. Armed with the knowledge of prompt injection, fabrications, and structural data protection, the real question is, are you ready to actively defend your business? Keep studying, trust those verification steps, and you are absolutely going to ace this exam.